Hey everyone, this video is long overdue, but I was putting it off for a while because the views were relatively low until recently. I guess that people really didn't care about my Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter video, until recently where a lot of people have been viewing it. I want to thank everyone for the recent spike in views on the first part of this, and I hope you all continue to support me. I also want to give a little disclaimer and say this part won't have any running clips in the background like the first one, since Agent Copyright is breathing down my neck. But I'll still summarize all the similarities I've noticed. The early part of both series features an examination period in order for the protagonist to gain something important. Yusuke is told by Koenma to train under Genkai, but he has to pass a series of challenges and examinations in order to receive her valuable combat knowledge. He runs into Kuwabara and they both take the challenges. Kurama wasn't present and Hiei was recently beaten in the episode before and was not yet on Yusuke's side. Yusuke, Kuwabara, and the other contestants went through various challenges from video games, a punching machine, and a karaoke machine, all in order to assess the spiritual powers of the contestants. The remaining contestants then had to run through a dense forest and not get killed by the creatures inside. 8 contestants remained with Kuwabara and Yusuke among them. They proceeded to fight in a tournament within a dark room. The remaining 4 from that round fought in the semifinals outside in an open field, and Yusuke went on to win it, and was allowed to train with Genkai, while Kuwabara was brutalized by Rando in the semis. Very early in Hunter x Hunter, a similar series of tests took place in order to become an officially licensed hunter of the Hunter Association. While Gon had met Leorio and Kurapika in episode 1 on the boat ride to Doll Harbor, Killua met the 3 of them in the running phase of the exam in which contestants had to run a very long distance and keep up with the instructor. After getting through that, the 4 protagonists are tasked with following the instructor Satots into a foggy swamp and emerging to the other side. Many contestants are killed by beasts, traps, and other contestants, and the famous first battle between Gon and Hisoka took place in the swamp. The protagonists survive and proceed to take cooking tests overseen by Menchi and Buhara, but even those activities had their own exciting elements, as getting ingredients required killing carnivorous pigs and flying on Netero's airship to the top of the mountain where you had to jump in a ravine to get the right eggs. The next phase was to take Netero's airship to the top of a huge tower and climb down from the inside, the way down being littered with traps, diversions, and deadly opponents to stop the hunters. After that, the remaining contestants are brought to another forest, and they were brought there in order to try and snatch each other's randomly assigned tags in any way possible for a total of 6 points. The final phase was a tournament in which the winner becomes a hunter and the losers must fight again. Gon shockingly won his fight with the ninja Hanzo because Hanzo couldn't get him to give up, and killing disqualifies you. So he surrendered the match and Gon became the first person to pass, although he was rendered unconscious by the affair. When he wakes up, Gon is told the outcome of all the other matches, with Killua losing to his brother Illumi in the first round. Kurapika became a hunter because Hisoka whispered in his ear and surrendered, and Leorio advanced by default after Killua killed Bodoro in the final round, because of Illumi's manipulation, thus disqualifying himself. So the hunter exam was a lot more intricate and certainly a lot longer, and in my opinion was more exciting. Togashi borrowed quite a few elements from the Genkai tournament when coming up with the hunter exam, and that's awesome. He took something that was already pretty cool and made it even cooler. So we all remember Hisoka's first fight with Gon, how he almost killed Gon but spared his life so he can fight with him when he gets stronger. They eventually had their rematch at the Heaven's Arena tournament, but Gon went on to lose in a great fight. This in a way mirrors Yusuke's trial with the younger Toguro. Toguro faked being defeated by Yusuke and Kuwabara at Tarukane's compound, but came back later at the beginning of the Dark Tournament arc and scared the shit out of Yusuke, with a show of immense strength that Yusuke had no chance of beating. Toguro then tells him that they would meet again at the Dark Tournament or else he would kill his friends. Faced with no choice, Yusuke trained and went on to the Dark Tournament with the rest of his team, and eventually had his rematch with Toguro in the finals of the Dark Tournament, where he went on to win. So the main difference here is that Yusuke and Toguro's tournament match was extremely high stakes, and it was the end of Toguro and Yusuke's own spat, while the Heaven's Arena fight was in a more controlled environment where all contestants needed to do was register more hits than the other. While the Dark Tournament had several ways of winning, a 10 count, a ring out, killing the opponent or getting them to surrender, so neither fighter really held back. While Heaven's Arena was a means of intensifying Gon and Hisoka's rivalry for the future when they have a fight without any restrictions. So the Phantom Troupe is one of the most popular antagonist groups in shonen anime. They have fighters with fascinating personalities and cool designs. They're all really strong and have unique abilities, while most members are bound together because they don't fit into regular society, or because they don't believe in regular society. The group itself was founded in Meteor City, a city abandoned by the rest of the world, where people who have no other place to go or who have been cast aside end up. Their motivations vary, but the majority of them have a close bond with each other. I found that the Sensui 7 of Yu Yu Hakusho's Chapter Black arc also have some things in common with the Troupe. The Sensui 7 and the Troupe are both comprised of outcasts and misfits who either don't fit into regular society or don't want to, as well as having differing motivations or reasons for joining the group. The Sensui 7 is led by Shinobu Sensui, a former spirit detective who was appalled with humanity's many crimes against each other as well as against demons and rebelled. In pursuit of his goal, he enlisted 6 other members: Minoru Kamiya, a doctor who also came to hate humanity because he watched the chapter Black tapes; Kaname Hagari, a rebellious teenager who's disillusioned with society, with the ability to fire anything as if it was a sniper bullet, earning him the nickname Sniper; Kiyoshi Mitarai, who suffered bullying by his classmates and developed a hatred for society as a result, and he also watched the chapter Black tapes, having the ability to spawn a water monster as well as use other water-based attacks. He was nicknamed Sea Man. Manuma, a young boy who has trouble making friends and loved video games, only joining the Sensui 7 because he was intrigued by Sensui's ability to hold him to a draw in a video game, and because he was allowed to play video games as much as he wanted amongst the Sensui 7 without being told otherwise. He had the ability to bring video games to life, a concept further expounded upon by Greed Island in Hunter x Hunter. He was nicknamed Game Master. Sadao Makihara, nicknamed Gourmet, was taken over by Elder Toguro, who somehow survived the Dark Tournament ass-kicking by Kuwabara, and possessed the body and mind of Sadao. Why did he do this? Well, he's a piece of shit. And finally there's Itsuki. He was a part of the Sensui 7 because he adored Sensui and all of his personalities. He didn't seem to have any philosophical reasons for being part of the Sensui 7, but was taking part only because of his devotion to Sensui. He had the ability to create alternate dimensions and open up portals. A few things that set these two groups apart are the fact that 5 of the 6 members that Sensui recruited were brought along extremely late in the story, and the members didn't have much of a sense of loyalty to each other. Well, except for Itsuki. Doctor, Game Master, Sniper, and Seaman only received their powers when Sensui opened up the portal between demon and human world, and that gave them all amazing abilities. While Elder Toguro was found after the Dark Tournament and recovered by Sensui to help out. And since Elder Toguro was kind of a piece of shit anyway, he wouldn't have had any problem causing havoc. Itsuki is the only member to have any sort of history with Sensui before the opening of the portal in the Dark Tournament. Contrarily, the Phantom Troupe are much more of a family. It existed for quite a long time before the beginning of the story, and many of its members are founding members. Crollo, Feitan, Machi, Nobunaga, Pakunoda, Franklin, and Yuvochin were all there when the troupe started. While Hisoka, Shalnark, Kortopi, Bono Lenov, Shizuku, and Kaluto were all recruited afterwards. Either way, the troupe has a long history, so there's much more of a sense of camaraderie within their group. The Sensui 7 exists for Sensui's grand plan of destroying the human world, and all of their actions are based around that goal. The troupe just kind of do what they want whenever they want and don't really have a grand ambition. At least not one stated in the anime. The chaos they cause are not in pursuit of a larger goal, but seemingly for the profit. Before the events of the main story, the troupe massacred the Kurta clan that Kurapika was a part of because they wanted to sell their rare red eyes. While their attack on Yorknu seemed to be largely motivated by the treasures that were available at the auction. The two groups also have another important similarity, and that is a member turning on them during the show. In Yu Yu Hakusho, Seaman is motivated by Kuwabara, Botan, and Shizuru's kindness towards him to abandon his negative notions on humanity and fight against the Sensui 7, participating in the invasion on their cave hideout and beating Game Master at virtual tennis. Hisoka turned on the Phantom Troupe by providing vital information on the members' abilities to Kurapika, so he could lure out Crollo and get his long-awaited fight with him. Although Hisoka was not expecting Crollo's powers to be negated by Kurapika's chain and was ultimately disappointed in the whole thing. Towards the end of each anime, Gon and Yusuke went on to meet their long-lost fathers. Yusuke met his ancestral demon father, Ryzen, in episode 103 in the Three Kings arc, training Yusuke and giving him closure on the history of his family and his bloodline shortly before Ryzen died. Gon finally reached his father, Jin, on the last episode of Hunter x Hunter 2011, and with Jin expressing his desire to traverse the unexplored Dark Continent, while also explaining his reasons to go off to be a hunter. Another interesting similarity is that both series are essentially fillerless. With the exception of a few minor changes or exclusions, the entirety of Yu Yu Hakusho is canon to the manga, and there are no pointless filler arcs. Although I've heard that scenes are stretched out to be longer than they were to fit entire episodes, but I'll take that over boring filler any day of the week. Hunter x Hunter with a few minor changes of its own because of the time in which the manga started, with more modern technology being implemented in the anime. It's also entirely canon to the manga and has no additional filler content at all. There are 2 recap episodes in which Gon narrates the past events of the show to his aunt Mito. But that's 2 episodes out of 148, and that isn't much of a huge deal either. Finally, both series have the same opening with the same song for their entire run, with a few shots changed to fit in the new characters from the arc in which it's playing. So those are the similarities that I found. Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter are amazing, and they're both amongst my favorite anime of all time. If I missed anything or was inaccurate on something, feel free to say so in the comments. I want to see your feedback, and I hope you all enjoyed the video. Take care.